Hello and welcome to What We Are Watching. I'm Catherine.
I'm Liz.
I'm Ed.
And John.
Okay, so I'm going to throw out that John and I sort of watched Slow Horses together.
Yeah, I mean, sort of is almost not true.
Okay, so Eric and I started this show, Slow Horses, with Gary Oldman on Apple TV Plus.
And this is a sequel to BoJack Horseman, right?
No,
I cannot even believe you.
They are not related.
That's animated. This is like Gary Oldman, one of our elders of the acting thespian society.
A true
Oh my
No, this
god!
is it's from All the Pretty Horses.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah, exactly.
wow.
It's a Horse Whisperer.
Or
sequel,
was
right?
it War Horse?
Yeah,
God.
yeah, there we go. Yeah.
So I don't know.
I do love a horse genre. I mean, what are we? Come on.
There were
Okay.
spoiler.
Horse Girl was pretty good.
You know, when this
my
show eventually gets canceled, they can just recycle it as glue.
Oh my God!
We did talk about gelatin on our other podcast,
They're just going to
too.
take it out to pasture. Now let's just go. Okay.
Okay, spoiler. There's no actual horses in this. Sorry.
What? Are you
I know.
serious?
I'm
Okay.
sorry.
Do you think that's where Knoxville comes from? Knox Blocks, Knoxville?
Actually, sadly,
Oh my God! Why did
Gelatin.
you even?
Ed, you're relating it to a podcast that we do, Family Dynamics, where we talked about Knox Blocks.
And a Jell-O cake.
And I think gelatin, John is investigating its original origin. I think
Isn't it like horse
was in some sort
Hooves
of
or something?
Oh God!
I don't even
What
want
did our
to.
mother feed us?
Well, it's a
If
known
it doesn't
thing.
gel, it's not aspic.
Okay. I don't.
All
Well,
right,
not
it's only from
British.
Psycho.
Exactly. Okay.
know
Wait.
that line.
All right.
Was it Dad's line? I don't know it then.
No, I know Dad's line.
Let's, Catherine.
Okay, sorry.
You're watching Slow Horses.
Slow
This
horses.
episode is a slow horse so far.
No, so far this is a
lame
out of
horse.
control horse.
A lame horse.
He's like really running
Yeah.
and no direction.
Wild horses, if you will.
Oh my
Yeah,
God! I
oh
have
my
Oh,
God.
wild stallions. Let's talk about Bill and Ted. I'm just kidding.
I have a fabulous
God.
story I will tell on our Family Dynamics podcast about a wild horse at a summer camp with Rosie and I. But can we get back on track?
The meantime,
Track?
In the
Gary
meantime.
Horseman.
Did we get the track?
Gary Horseman? Is that it?
Oh my Lord!
Okay, so Eric, I don't even know how he heard about it because I was not paying attention. I hadn't seen any promotion for it.
He
I
gets
didn't.
alerts on Gary Oldman.
Well, I don't think he's following Gary
Notifications?
Oldman's. Yeah, like he doesn't have
He
a
gets the
Google alert on him or
monthly
anything.
Gary Oldman newsletter.
So every once in a while, Eric will just be like, "Oh, we should watch this show. Have you heard about this? Have you heard about that?" I'm like, "Slow Horses. No, I don't know anything about it." He's like, "Well, we have Apple TV Plus. We don't watch enough on it. Let's watch it." I'm like, "Okay."
Let's get that value.
So we start, and I think we watched one episode, loved it. It's a dark, set in England. There's the MI5 and then like all the rejects.
M5. I
wouldn't
always
actually-
love M5 because of
MI5.
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 Now,
Did I
isn't
say
that
MI5?
James-
I hope I did.
I don't know.
Okay.
MI5 agents.
I'm behind.
Okay.
But I do like that because isn't that typically the reference in James Bond?
I don't know. I have to look it up. The whole thing is ridiculous because, since we're not British, we don't understand, not the joke, but like,
It's sort of like their CIA, right? Or their FBI.
yes,
One
but
of those.
the whole thing started like, these don't even exist. It only goes to MI4. You're talking about something that's not in
Oh, no.
existence
Off
because
the
it's
books.
so secret.
Well, there's another series called MI6.
Oh,
So yeah, no, they have leaned
MI12,
into, yeah, so it'd be like-
MI37.
It'd be like if we had the CIA and the CIB,
Oh,
and then
God.
they came up with a CIC, and you're like, yeah, we got that, we understand.
All right. Okay, so basically...
the Misfits.
Yes, the Misfits or the Slow Horses. They are the sucky agents, and they've all been like demoted to this like, I think it's Slough House or something is the name of it. And so it's like a very interesting motley crew of like not great agents, but you don't exactly know why when it first starts. And you're mainly following this very handsome young agent. John knew him from somewhere else. I didn't know him at all. Chris Riley? No, wait, that's not
Jack
him.
Lowden.
Jack Lowden. Okay. Wait, why is-
just slightly off.
Oh, because IMDb is not putting him on
Oh,
like
he
the
is
top
a
of the-
babe.
He's a babe. What's his name again? Where is he on
Chris
here?
Riley. Yeah, he's a mean dude.
Oh,
You're-
he's
you're
that.
crazy.
Oh, yeah. I know who he was now. Seriously, where is he on this IMDb page?
River? Where's River?
His name was River, which I don't love. That's not perfect.
Your opinion on that doesn't matter, but
I mean, seriously, is he not on here? Where is he?
This is a good cast.
Oh, thank you. Jack Lowden. Thank you.
Okay.
Ed had to point it out. I literally could not freaking see it. Okay, anyway.
He's got a mustache, so clearly in the show he doesn't.
I don't know. So, as we've discussed before, sometimes IMDb, these little pictures are terrible and don't look like the person enough that when you're scanning across, you can even recognize who they are. Anyway, he was great. This character, River Cartwright, he's our main guy that we're following.
I'm prepared to do other off-topic things. James Bond is MI6 because it's even more secretive and like non-existent. So we're talking about MI5, which is already somewhat extra secret.
Okay.
But all right, so
Got
Jack
it.
Lowden as River. Go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to do like a whole lot of spoilery things, but it was very good. And I mentioned it to John. I was like, oh, are you watching Slow Horses? And he's like, what's that? And I was like, it's right up your alley because it's England. And, you know, because you've talked about The Bodyguard before. It feels like kind of in that vein.
And spy and action. So
yeah,
yes.
spy and action and all that.
And we're not talking about The Bodyguard with Whitney Houston.
No.
We're talking about
We're talking,
series.
yeah,
because actually
the
John
English series
came. It was when Bodyguard was out, so it was a few years ago. You came into the office and you were telling me what you were watching, and you told me you were watching Bodyguard, and I did not know there was a series. And I was looking at him like,
you're watching the Whitney Houston movie?
and I go
What?
about like a bodyguard that's protecting like a starlet, or something. You're going, what are you? Yeah, so it's not that one that we all grew up with. No.
The English
Younger, cooler
series, or it might have been like a limited
Yes,
series.
that was a series.
Okay, so Kristen Scott Thomas plays a high-powered agent, or director, or something like that.
She's second desk. Catherine.
Second desk, which is a term that we all use here. Second desk.
Yeah, first desk is apparently the actual
Like
head
the
of
main-
the agency, and then second desk is commonly apparently head of actual whatever in process
Operations or something.
operations. Yeah, that's the word I was searching for. So Kristen is very important.
Gary Oldman, going back to him because he is one of my favorites.
He's amazing. His character's super gross, but it's very fun.
Okay.
Like, he's very much like in charge of all of the losers, and he himself is like, that's fine, and I'm also a loser, and I don't care about anything, and everyone can just F off. So,
That is the character. That certain parts of that turn out not to be true.
well, okay, like, don't tell people what's going to happen. All right.
I didn't say what. Geez, I'm just giving you some hope.
Turns out Mandy Patinkin is actually a little bit nice in
Homeland. Yeah, wrong show.
No, but he's right. You don't want
He seems like a real jerk at the top.
Saul.
You're like, oh, Saul. Oh, they're both real nasty guys. And the other guy, who's the other guy?
Dara Dahl.
Dara.
That comes in later.
Yeah, wait, what's that actor's name? Oh, shoot.
Is it F. Murray
Abraham?
Tompkins? Abraham, there you go.
F. Murray Abraham, yeah.
Yeah, we're way off topic, but those are some real serious
we're never gonna
characters
get
that turn out to be,
No, but Homeland is like
sweethearts.
is a
very
good connection. Yeah.
spy level connection.
So I think it's 12 episodes.
It's just the way you said like F. Murray Abraham, like it almost said like F him. So I was laughing. But his name is F. Murray Abraham. Just the way it broke up was very like stagnated in a way that was not good. Okay. So Gary Oldman is almost playing sort of a Saul. So multi-dimensional.
I mean, not really a
not
Saul. He's
Saul-ish.
playing a real incredible schlump, gross person. So it's kind of a
Ooh.
new Gary Oldman in some ways.
Now, look, there was just a press release where he said that this will probably be his retirement.
What?
Yeah. They shot apparently concurrently 2 seasons.
Or back to back.
Or back
maybe,
to back.
Like continuous, yeah.
Concurrently would be at the same time. That doesn't make sense. But yes, so back to back. They shot, and I think, was it only 6? So it's saying here that it's 12, but I think that's because they have shot the second season. So it will become available soon. And I don't know if this was out earlier in England and now we're just getting it, because it hasn't been available to us very long. But
No, it's just Apple TV, straight up.
gotcha. Initially, Apple TV does like to do the not everything all at once format.
Right,
so Eric and I watched the
No, they did that movie, Everything, Everywhere, All at Once.
Oh my gosh, you're the worst. So we watched a couple episodes and then got John involved and then accidentally watched like 2 more. So then we're like, quick, John, catch up. And then
you were saying catch up to begin with, but yeah.
Yes,
I
and
want to
then-
hear this version of the story. Continue.
and then did you come over and we watched the 2 episodes? The
Yeah,
last
so you were
2?
like, we might be ready to finish this. Do you want to do that? And I was like, sure. Now, in actuality, what I had done, I had stayed caught up, so I had seen all 5 that had previously been available.
You
So
son
I
of
had
a
to
bitch.
Go back and watch one with you, and then we watched the finale. For the first time.
Oh, you did not divulge that at the time.
You can't, because then we would have still been off, and we wouldn't have done it, and
Yeah, that's
we would
true.
have just never watched any of
Well,
it.
on
together.
top of he's trying to stay ahead of the insanity that you're bringing to the table, which is we watch 2 more, catch up, trying to get ahead of me.
Wait a minute. Gary Oldman is announcing his retirement.
So that's what he said, that this is probably going to be the last. I don't know if he said the last show, but he did use the word retirement. This may be the last thing that he does.
Whoa.
I know.
He's only 64. I mean, that is not.
He could.
I'm
do
not
this a lot
allowing
longer.
this.
Yeah, I know.
No.
Well,
Apparently, it's on the horizon.
on
is
the
exact
horizon,
quote.
His retirement.
I see.
Oh.
No, the clouds. What are you talking about?
God, that seems insane.
Well, he's really good in this. I mean, he's super yucky, but it's very fun. So, I mean, I hope this isn't the last thing that we get from him. John, does it say when we get season 2, or is that?
No, at some point when because as soon it's funny once you are, we finished it. Wait a minute, what's the deal with the future? It's
We
like,
want more.
They haven't told you. It's supposedly later this year, so we'll see if that is true.
All right. Well, I mean, that would be great because 6 episodes, they're hour-ish. They go pretty quick, though, and then you want more immediately. And definitely this Jack Lowden fellow. I was like, oh, who? And you, John, you were saying that you knew him from other things, and I was like, I missed all of these things that he was in.
Yeah, yes, you did. He had a big year, sort of 2017, 2018. He was in Dunkirk and then Mary Queen of Scots.
Apparently, didn't watch either of those.
Yeah, you're bad. Then he was in that interesting WWE movie, Fighting with My Family.
Right.
And then he's done other things as well. He was apparently really well known for a mini series they did in 2016, War and Peace.
Oh, all right. I mean, literally all of those. Didn't see him. So for me, he was like a complete fresh face, and he was very good.
Well, even Dunkirk, I don't even remember what he was in Dunkirk. Mary Queen of Scots, he's not a major character exactly, but he's an important character you're paying attention to. But this is way more than I've ever seen him in something.
Got it. So the only other person, everyone was very good, but I do want to call out, just because it's a funny connection, this one actor, Dustin Demery Burns. So John and I watched a show called Sick Note, which it was very funny. Oh my gosh, I have to look it up really quick because I wasn't actually going to talk about it, which is so dumb. Sick Note.
Ron is in it. That's all you need to know.
So it's on Netflix, and it's Ron from
Ronald Weasley.
Rupert Grint, Ron from Harry Potter.
Okay.
And
Ronald Weasley.
and Nick Frost playing a ridiculous doctor, just mess. Don Johnson was in the first season. Lindsay Lohan was in the second season. But anyway, this guy who was in Slow Horses, I knew him from Sick Note, but this was a very different tone because he plays a ridiculous character in Sick Note. But in this, he's
Well, he's just a real person in this one and not playing, someone you're like, oh, you're ridiculous and I probably hate you.
Yeah, this was a little bit closer to real, but still very goofy, and in that, he's a slow horse. He's kind of a fuck up and not a great agent, and he's in this crappy job. Anyway, so he was the only other person that, besides Gary Oldman, that I recognized, and Kristen Scott Thomas, obviously, too.
Well, we also had Olivia Cook in a sort of, she was the female agent at the beginning.
Oh, yeah.
Who's from Ready Player One and so many things.
Yes. Yeah. We'll see what happens with her. But yeah, she was in there.
And most important, you're forgetting
What?
original song by Mick Jagger.
Oh, I did not know that.
I told
Track
you that.
What? When? What? I don't believe you. All right. Well, anyway. Okay. So then that was Slow Horses. And then I decided, do I need to stay and do some more spy stuff? So then I watched All the Old Knives, the new movie with Chris Pine.
Oh.
I mean,
Is that with Tandy Newton?
yes.
Right. Okay.
And it was good, but it was not.
Is it like espionage?
Yeah, so it was kind of a slow burn.
Who to trust?
Yeah. It looked really nice. I liked how it looked.
Well, they're both so unattractive.
Yeah. I mean, there was a long cutting back and forth to the scene in a restaurant. So they were in this restaurant for like 2/3 of the movie.
Oh my gosh.
You know, intercut with action and other behind the scenes stuff. Anyway, so it was just funny that I was like, oh, I guess I need to do another spy related thing. So anyway, that's what I've been watching. Wait, what is this on?
That was on Amazon Prime.
It is. All the Old Knives is on Amazon Prime. Okay.
So you went from all the old spies to all the old knives. Got it. All right. Okay. I think I'll pick it up from there. In a classic, the four of us not always watching something brand new, I thought it was fine to bring this up. I still haven't finished the entire series because I'm savor watching it, and there's limited run of Schitt's Creek. But I just rewatched the end of season 4 because I was about halfway through season 5. I'm like, I don't know where I'm at. Just finish up season 4 again, get the motor running, and it was the Christmas episode, Merry Christmas, Johnny Rose.
Oh, right.
Which was a great throwback episode to when they were rich, and you could see all the level that they were
Christmas
at,
party,
and how they all treated each other, which they reference in that show so much, how their interactions are like, this is the old way that we used to interact when we could afford to interact this way. Now we can't. So it was a really it's a great episode for the entire series because it's a really good culmination of all of the characters kind of growing. The son has his store and his boyfriend at that point. The daughter's making her moves with her career and relationships, however many moves she needs to make. And I don't know where they go because I haven't finished the series. But it's just a really enjoyable experience all the way. Plus, now I know what I'm getting in season 5 when she gets hired for the Crowaning, the Crowanation.
Oh, the Crowaning. Oh, my God.
Yeah, I've been rewatching it because I watched it the first time, I think, with Mark, my husband, and then Ethan would come in sometimes, and I didn't feel like it was inappropriate, but he was, I think, 11 at the time or 12. I don't know. It was like one of those things we didn't watch with him, and now we're watching it with him. It's like one of those things we'll watch. You know, it's a quick half hour, so we're slowly getting through it. And he loves Moira. He thinks I am like Moira.
You don't have enough wigs. You need.
I don't have enough wigs. I mean, and I occasionally wear color. So
is everyone just going to come in here and stare at your wig wall? That wouldn't be such a bad Christmas, would it?
Oh my God, that accent that is like, what is happening?
And it holds up even the second time through. It is just as enjoyable. If anything, you find
even more because if you watch Moira in the background, she is always acting. She is still on all the time.
Well, she should be.
Yeah, there's
she
just a moment
it,
where someone was like drinking a glass of wine and things weren't going perfectly, and then in the background, Catherine O'Hara turns and just like reaches out for the glass. Oh, thank you. As if it was poured for her. It wasn't.
Yeah, she's brilliant.
I'm very stressed.
Oh my God, she's
and
amazing.
Her wardrobe gets more and more insane.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. Like, I fully know what I'm getting into with season 5 and 6. But
yeah,
I was like,
great.
I really, you know what? I don't mind going back to visit this.
Where is it playing now?
Right now, it's on Netflix still.
Okay, that must be where I'm watching it because I think I watched it on its original platform, which was Pop.
Yep.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Because it was CTV, Canada TV. Then it started to air here on Pop. The streaming, I think, really is what made it catch on.
Yeah, kind of broke it open to a bigger audience, for
exactly.
sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm a big fan of the father and the creator, the brother,
David.
and the whole friggin' Levies. There's so many of them in there, and it really tripped me up when I was watching this through the first time in the past year, because I took a long time to get onto the series, that not the daughter, but the runner of the diner is another Levy. I'm like, what? Why didn't you cast yourself as the... Never mind. It's all good. Works great. I'm not complaining.
Yeah, that's David's sister in real life.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Sarah Levy.
Yep. Yeah, and in general, just I knew that the show would be a good visit, like a good place, and so I'll be off and running, and I'll catch back up with you guys when I finish the series.
Love it.
Anybody else have Schitt's Creek things they need to talk about? All right.
No.
Passing the baton.
I agree. Either rewatch it or start watching it.
Yeah, it's a very fun show for sure.
Oh, you want me to go, Liz?
Yes, you go.
Oh, you need to do the end. Oh,
no, I'll
okay.
do the end. Did I do the end last time?
I don't know.
Enough out of you. Fine, I'll go. Whatever.
Okay.
All right. So I watched. It might be sort of hard to pay attention, but it was a movie, Petite Maman, French movie. So it was sort of, second tier awards contender for the American audience. So I don't know that it really got a theatrical run because it's getting a theatrical run now. So it was nominated for certain things like Independent Spirit Awards, was nominated for Best International. And even in, National Society of Film Critics, it got, as one of the best films of the year. But didn't quite break through in the 2021 race.
Is it dubbed? I mean, is it in French?
Yeah, it's in French.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and I don't do dubs. I'm not Catherine.
You can
love a dub.
French.
I'm so happy
you're
for a
really,
dub.
really bad. Don't do that.
Oh, wait till I tell you all of the dub series that I've been watching.
Nope. Don't need to know because you're not doing it right.
It's the best.
One Big Bug was an awesome dub. Ooh.
Yeah, and you're also wrong. So anyway, it was interesting. You see the preview and it's supposed to be amazing, and you're like, okay, because it's also from this director, Celine Sciamma, or I'm not sure exactly how to pronounce that, but she had that movie in 2019, Portrait of a Lady on Fire.
Oh, sure. Sarah, my daughter, was a big fan of that movie.
Yeah.
And didn't you see it with Eric? Like, you guys went and saw it together.
He loves a period piece.
He loves a period piece.
Yeah.
My husband.
What?
Oh my God, Eric, my husband, is hysterical. He loves a period movie. I mean,
Wow.
Dangerous Liaisons is his all-time favorite movie, which is ridiculous. So John and Eric will go and see movies, and they see action movies and whatever. And this one day, they had gone out on like a Sunday afternoon, and they came back, and I'm like, "Oh, what'd you see?" And he says, "Portrait of a Woman on Fire." I was like, "What?"
We thought it was one of the Girl with the Dragon Tattoo movies, but we were wrong.
We didn't think that.
No, he knew exactly what it was for sure. Yeah, Sarah loved it as well. So, sorry, go ahead. That's the same director? Interesting.
Same director, yeah, who both wrote and directed both of these. I will say, there is a little...
Sorry to interrupt. Portrait of a Woman on Fire.
Portrait of a Lady on Fire.
Portrait of a Lady on Fire, that's in English, right? Or no? Is it...
Well, we can find out. I'm not sure. I feel
don't
like it was...
recall?
I mean, it's set in France.
then maybe... I never tracked that it was...
Language French, sorry.
Wow, I never even paid attention
Such
to that.
a good dub. It fooled you.
No, it obviously was not dubbed, but people who can read don't have a problem with that. A dyslexic person, it's like, oh God, this is a big decision if I'm going to try and track a movie that I have to read. Because I literally can't watch the movie. I'm staring at the words the whole time trying to decipher them.
You need like an audiobook for the movie.
Yeah, kind of. Or sometimes when John comes over and he watches TV with us, he will just read whatever is on screen.
It's one of those evolutions. That's only been the last couple years because I didn't quite know that was as hard or, would be helpful or you would want just me randomly talking these lines. So.
I do. It's so helpful. Yeah. Eric tries to do it too, but we were watching, sorry, this is a side note. We were watching Tokyo Vice and he was like, "Oh my God, this is so much reading." I'm like, you don't have to read it. It's okay. And I would only catch like more than half, but that's enough. So I know what's going on. But he was just like, "This is hard."
Didn't we do Crazy Rich Asians? Because really the subtitles for me aren't so bad. It's when there's all of a sudden like kind of like a page of text, or I feel like I remember there was that one like the text group conversation that's blowing up all over the world, and it was like, wow, this is a lot of things that I'm trying to say.
Well, I mean, basically, if I'm watching something by myself, I'll just pause it. Right. I will just pause it, and I will read for subtitles or for any. I mean, it ruins the whole flow of a movie.
I am certain we did that, and I'm glad that you don't remember. It's so bad.
Okay, sorry. Oh my gosh, that was a whole tangent on.
Anyway, all
subtitles.
of that is true. So this is maybe her fifth like major movie that she's made, written and directed. All received very well. This one, I think Portrait of a Lady on Fire was maybe the only period piece. This is, again, more contemporary. Mm-hmm. You do get an idea from the preview that it is a weird like sci-fi angle because it's a trip. And, well, I'll say this first and then I'll come back around. But similar to A Portrait of a Lady on Fire, I didn't like it as much as I wanted it to. It is still very good. But anyway, so what happens is, so you're kind of following it through the eyes of this, like, 8-year-old. And her grandmother has just died. Mm-hmm. So they're going back with her mom and her dad to the grandmother's house to, like, clean it up or, clear it up, I think they keep saying. But then the mom she's pretty upset also. The child, the granddaughter, is also upset, But so then the mom like leaves the next day. And so it leaves like the dad and the young girl to just continue to clear it up by themselves.
Deal with the house.
Yes. So then when it ends up happening, this is where the sci-fi or whatever comes in. The little girl goes out to play and then meets another little girl. And then they go back to her house and it's the same house. And it's her mom as a little girl, as an 8-year-old.
Oh.
So then her grandmother is there as a younger woman.
So there's time travel.
So it's a time travel. And so
There's time travel in their woods.
I guess.
And so the two little girls are played by twins. They are incredible. Josephine and Gabrielle Sands, I think is how I would say it.
Nice.
And I mean, you know, they're twins enough to where, like, it's weird. They don't seem identical, but they seem incredibly close. So it really works well for this. Like, you're like, of course, that's your mother. That's you. You look like you. There's two of you. But then they're like, you know, sort of, there's like subtle cues to the time differences, you know, which are, it's very fun, but it also, so then, you know, you're...
Sorry, subtle cues like one girl has a cell phone, one doesn't.
Not quite. It's actually, that's a challenging thing because I feel like they're doing it right now. They do almost a Walkman at some point, but you don't actually see the device. You just see the headphones. But otherwise, it's like the cars that you see are very contemporary. So you're like, okay, well, if she's 8, and I think they talk, I've now forgotten, but they say the mother's age, and it's like, I think she had her at 23 or something, like super young. And so you're like, so we're talking of when she was 8, you're like, this is still like 2000.
Yeah.
This is not even that long ago.
Maybe this was the multiverse.
No, it wasn't.
Oh.
But I mean, obviously, whatever.
No, this was one thing, one time, just this once.
But
As opposed to everything all together all at once. No,
Everything-
I'm not
that
doing
was good. I didn't see that coming.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I mean, obviously it's not quite real because there's time travel, but they didn't do that kind of thing. It's incredible because what they're doing with these two little girls, and then you don't really see the mom, the middle generation, again until the end. She kind of stays away, which in a way makes sense for this fantasy sci-fi angle. They're really not giving it to you on a silver platter. You are having to like figure out what the emotions are, what the story is, you know, why, you know, this person is doing this or this person is doing that. And then at the end, they do the tiniest bow you could ever imagine to try to wrap that up. I was like from the preview, I swear, I feel like it was like multiple shots. It didn't seem that way then when I watched the movie. It was like, oh, wow, that was way less than I was expecting.
But not a scary, like, you know, horror ending.
No,
okay,
no,
'cause
not
I'm
at all.
100% getting that vibe from, we're going to our grandmother's house and there's going to be twin kids just cleaning up the old house.
No, that's unnecessary reference. Totally not a part of this at all, which is nice. I mean, look, if this was an American movie, you'd be waiting for that, and then it would never happen because it didn't happen. So it's incredible. I mean, she's a child, but it's an incredible performance by her and her twin.
That's what it's called. Like, it's almost like Little Mama.
Yeah, so she's seeing her mother as a little girl, which is because then what ends up happening is you find out that her grandmother had died like I think a year previously, and then it's also leading up to this operation that she's about to have, which they don't explain what kind of operation, but it's something that her mother, so the grandmother, had, but they're like hoping to avoid it by having you know, which generation, so having that the mom, the original mom.
My gosh.
I know. Well, I would have to map it out, and then I would have to use the code, and I'm not going to do that. So having the original mother have that operation young, they're hoping to avoid what the grandmother then had for the rest of her life. So it's a weird, like, very extremely parallel with just certain aspects that are, you know, they're different by a little bit, but it's like, oh, wow, you both just lost your grandmother and you're really trying to figure things out.
Well, maybe that's why the time connection happened, because of all the parallels.
Yeah, so it was pretty incredible. I mean, it's definitely very sweet.
Where is it available to watch? Because in the movie theaters?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
John, he's always going to the movie theater.
Look, you can't support cinema without going to the movie
it's admirable. I am very impressed.
Yeah, so it's incredibly sweet, and it's extremely well done. So it was good. It was quite good. You should definitely see it when you get a chance.
When you get a chance.
I definitely like how it reminds me of the story or the conceit that I've read in the last couple of years, that when a woman is pregnant with her daughter has every egg that she'll ever have in her life inside of her. So it's 3 generations simultaneously in a single person. So this movie like kind of represents all those outwardly.
Wow, that's interesting.
And
Yeah, I've always loved that.
And no one's going to reference the Russian doll, Matryoshka doll.
I don't. It's so funny when he started to say that. I was like, gee, because I didn't talk about Russian Doll on the podcast. I talked about it on the Patreon.
Yeah.
Because it goes bananas. And one of the things that Ed was just talking about sort of happens in the end of Russian Doll this second season. So that's very funny that I was like, ooh, I'm hearing a Russian Doll thing here. Yeah.
Anyway, yeah, it was great. I loved it. Someone else can talk now.
Now, okay, I watched something that was very much outside of my normal,
your normal scope of
my
view.
normal scope or what my taste. It's not necessarily true crime, but it's a documentary, and true crime is not normally my jam. But it's called Captive Audience on Hulu. The reason why I was intrigued by it is because of the movie of the week that was called I Know My Name is Steven. And it was like 40 million people watched it, I think, in the 90s.
I remember it so clearly.
Right,
yeah.
we watched it. So this is sort of now the documentary, the true story, and there's a twist in it that I swear you're like, this poor family. So, it's the story of a 7-year-old that goes missing for 7 years. His name is Steven Stainer. And even that at one point took my breath away because my son's the exact same age as when he came back.
Right, because he comes back at 14.
Right. And he disappeared off the face of the earth at 7. And really, when he comes back at 14, it's like the time gap. And as a parent, you're just like, it's a completely different person. So that in itself, I just thought, gosh, you missed all those years and sort of what happened with the family, what psychologically, they all went through.
Well, and what he went through, the trauma of... Yeah.
Right. And at first he didn't want to admit or talk about, and the family also the father did not believe in therapy. And what they did was interesting with this documentary. They had the audio tapes of the director's notes talking about how he was going to do the movie.
Oh, when they were making the movie of the week.
And so they
That's
would kind of contrast the content from the movie up against documentary footage and now the first hand accounts from the family, how this was wrong or this was right or this is what really happened, and how maybe the director had to sensationalize this part or make the mother they felt like she wasn't as sympathetic as she should have been, and so all these elements of it. And his life, I highly recommend watching it. I don't want to blow anything because there are some twists and turns in it. You're just like, oh my God, really? So sort of his life story, which is a tragedy, and then part 3, a parallel story, his brother Carrie, and what happens to his brother Carrie is just, you question what the psychological trauma was that took place basically in his childhood. His brother missing, he was the older brother.
Yeah, it changed the whole dynamic of his life as well, for sure.
And not only that, but then the attention his brother got when he came back. And so what happens with Carrie is a twist that, holy crap, I just, this is one of those things where you go, what could one family be put through? So I can't believe I'm watching because it's so not my jam.
Who's still alive of the family? Is everyone alive?
That will be spoiler alerts. But
okay, sorry.
The mom, there are quite a few family members that participate and are interviewed, and it's
were there any other siblings?
Yeah, I think 5 kids, something crazy like that. Yeah.
Okay.
And I will say, oh my God, I'm not. Okay, when Steven Stainer went missing, the day he went missing, his mom was late to pick him up from school because she was running errands, and just the way the mom talked. And sort of like the reenactment they did of her, which I think might have been taken from the movie of the week, I was like, that is our mother.
Oh, no.
I was like, oh, my God. I was that kind of just had one of those flashback moments of yeah, mom would be very late to pick you up from school sometime or not get you. And you're like, all
super
right,
discombobulated.
Screw it.
Yeah.
And I'm just going to walk home myself. And it's like, oh, crap. And it's all against the backdrop of Yosemite, of where both Stevens and Carrie's stories start and ended. It's very fascinating. This beautiful, pristine, the Yosemite. And it is fascinating.
How many parts is it?
I think it's only 3 parts, 3 chapters, they say.
3 chapters.
And
so a 3-part documentary.
Yeah. And I'm watching it at the end of the night, which is probably not a good idea.
That's a terrible idea.
It's not good. But I highly recommend it. Captive Audience on Hulu. So it's a TV miniseries. And like I said, there's some twists in it that you're just like, whoa.
Well, at least you didn't try to time out watching this with Ethan going to camp or something.
Oh, God.
Oh,
don't. Why would you?
No. And I mean, he originally disappeared in 1972. And just back then, just trying to get the word out,
there wasn't infrastructure
it was
yeah.
very different. And then obviously when he was found, actually he was not found. I don't want to spoil it, but he sort of saved himself and another boy. It's pretty incredible.
Right. I mean, I know that element of the story because whether it was
I don't know
a
if you
true adaptation or not, I did see the movie of the week.
Yeah, and I'm wondering if they were smart. I will say this, that Hulu would be smart if they were also at the old school movie of the week available.
Oh, yeah. I wonder who has the rights for that. Somebody does, probably.
Oh, you know another element they do on it that's really cool? They have some of the actors, the guy that played Steven, the person that played Carrie, possibly the dad, I can't remember, come and sort of read the lines.
Oh, that's interesting.
And just, whoa, God, that I look at that differently now, or because I know this, that makes a lot more sense the way he said it. It's very fascinating. It's that way too. And I love at one moment, there's this reporter who was on the beat and and so he's like, hi, I'm reporter so-and-so. And the director of the documentary basically says, you can just talk like casual, normal. She's just trying to say like, hey, you don't have to. Because, and the filmmaker is Jessica DeMock, I think is her name. And so love giving female shout outs to the director. Mm-hmm. And so I highly recommend it. 3 episodes or chapters, as they said, on Hulu. And it's called The Captive Audience. And it's really the story of Steven Stainer. And the one other thing I'm watching, and I'm almost done, just I'll bring it up, is...
And if you... Sorry to interject. If you want to go track down, I'm seeing it for sale on Amazon.
For sale.
Like everything's for sale on Amazon. I Know My First Name is Steven. It's the original 1981 2-episode series.
It was 1981?
89, sorry. 1989.
Wait, the film was in 1989?
Yeah.
The movie of the week.
The movie of the week came out in 1989.
Okay, got it. Okay.
So heavily 80s vibe.
Yeah, that's fine. Because when you were saying
81. No.
81, I was like, there's no way we're allowed to watch that.
Yeah, no.
We would have been way too young and we would not have been allowed. 89, yeah, okay. But they said 40 million people watched the 2-part movie. Yeah,
that was back in the day when everybody watched the same stuff a lot.
7 nominations for Primetime Emmys and 2 wins.
Oh, wow.
So Hulu, Captive Audience, highly recommend it. If, you can handle it.
If you can handle it. Yeah.
You can handle it. So the other thing, to cleanse my palate, and you'll see what I'm going to do here, Top Chef on Bravo.
Okay.
I am a huge fan. Yes, John?
We have been... I hadn't noticed that has all of a sudden become part of our repertoire.
Well, yes, but I've always watched it, and it's something that my son Ethan, it drives him crazy when I watch a show with food, and it's like, oh, it's making me hungry. What are you doing to me? It's like, okay.
Well, and he is now a genius cook, so...
Oh, that's a whole nother topic I can't get into. This is the 19th season, and
Wow.
I actually think I've watched every season. This is taking place in Houston. I don't know if they've actually they sometimes end up in some foreign, non-U.S. place for maybe the finale, but it's usually a U.S. city they pick, and they highlight the regional foods and the cultures from it. So it's Houston, and the cast is pretty amazing, and the food's been really good this season. It's Padma, Tom, and Gail are the typical hosts, and then they'll bring all these guest hosts in, and so they're down to the finale. I had my own catering company a lifetime ago, and the first season or two, and I think the second season, one of my friends who was involved in television production asked if I wanted to try out for it, and I was like, these quick fires they do, it's like that. No recipes. I was like, this is not my jam. So it's very impressive what they do. It's taken, James Beard winners, restaurants, sous chefs. There's a guy that's there from really what was considered one of the top restaurants in the world, but because it was so meticulous, the restaurant he was involved with, which was Noma from Copenhagen.
Oh my God, I saw a documentary about that. No, not a documentary, an episode of Anthony Bourdain when he went there. That's how I know about Noma.
And it's gone. It closed itself.
Oh, I didn't know
I got
that.
FOMO Noma.
Noma. And but he actually struggled more so than others, and you would have thought it would have been easy peasy for him, but I love the personalities. You end up rooting for people. I'm rooting for Evelyn, I think. She carries her house like Nick. So Like I said, cleansing the palate. A lot of times I'll be watching the Steven Stainer on Hulu, and then I'm like, oh, Bravo, because I'm a Bravoholic. That's because I don't think we can handle going into the Real Housewives on this episode on our show here, because no one else watches the Housewives here,
No.
right?
I'm
Yeah.
aware of a lot of stuff, but I don't watch it.
Right, but I watch a lot of Bravo.
They're like married, right? And they have houses.
Actually, not all of them. That's what's so interesting.
Sometimes they
Spoiler.
don't have a house, or sometimes they're not married.
Yes.
Not to get us back on track, but Carla Hall, who's now a judge on all kinds of cooking shows,
Yes.
she was originally a Top Chef. Wow.
Yes, I will say through the process, you may end up winning even if you didn't win.
Right.
Yeah.
If you're one of those personalities that really comes out of it, you might turn into a celebrity chef.
Or, Bravo will take you on and you will end up being one of their personalities that's peppered through this show, Chopped, or the best thing I ever ate. So because we as fans start to recognize you again and again. I mean, and Padma, I'm sorry, patronizing gal. I mean, it's like, and Tom Colicchio is awesome, and Gail Simmons. So I always say, if you like food competition, it's really the best of the best, in my opinion, because they take themselves very seriously. It's real food. There's no real gimmicks. Like, is that a cake? Okay.
I have a thing that probably can't happen, but I have a question for you as a fan. Would you appreciate Gordon Ramsay on the show?
Actually,
And like as a contestant, like actually having to do it.
that would be fascinating. They have done episodes of where they bring in true professionals, world famous chefs,
Top Chef Masters.
I actually cried. One of the winners of the Top Chef Masters was a previous contestant on Top Chef.
Nice.
And talk about a full,
Evolution.
Oh, actually, was he All Stars? Because he's in Top Chef.
Oh, it might. I'm sorry. And are you talking about Richard Blaise?
He's my favorite. So he won All Stars, but there is a Masters as well, which are true Masters. And so Gordon Ramsay would have been a Master. I don't actually know if he's ever been on, because Anthony Bourdain,
he's hired into the Fox family show, so that feels like it couldn't happen.
probably not for that reason. But Anthony Bourdain, for example, who was not on a Bravo show and was considered sort of the bad boy, right? He was a guest on it quite a few times. I just watched the documentary about him. I don't know if I talked about it here on this podcast,
I
called
don't
The
think so.
Road Runner.
No, I don't think so.
Oh, that is just heartbreaking.
Oh, no.
It is just,
I mean, it's so sad.
and you just go, damn it. I mean, it makes you angry. Like, you're supposed to be here. So I've always loved chefs. I worked in restaurants in my previous life. I have my own catering company. I went to cooking school. It is such a grind, and you have to stay in it to be current and be knowledgeable. So ironically, John, you brought it up. My son just did a project at school when it was called the Genius Hour, which it took a hell of a lot more than 1 hour for him to become a genius, and he's still not one of this. But he did cooking, and he did like 5 recipes, and it just took over our kitchen, because it is a life skill that you should learn to cook, and there are basic rules of it that if you follow, you can kind of put meals together.
I can't tell you how much I benefited in my entire life from having worked at the Rib Ranch. I worked at the Rib Ranch. I learned how things. I got stuff set back. You learn. Oh yeah, that didn't do that well. I wouldn't eat that. Okay.
Oh yes. So I've always had a big appreciation, because it's such hard work, and to stay current, to make a restaurant work. I mean, I never got into that field, because holy moly, that can destroy people. And that's another thing. They'll have a lot of these top chefs on who are like either just launched a business or failed a business or want to have a business, and they wear their heart on their sleeves, and they're just literally sweating blood, sweat, and tears to make this happen. And so Anthony Bourdain, coming on the Top Chef show was always so fun, because people really admired him. And so I highly recommend that documentary too. It's called Road Runner. It's on Hulu. It is fantastic. Now, if you watched his other shows, which I did, then it will mean sort of more to you. But he was really an American icon, in my opinion.
Still record it. I mean, Eric is a big fan, so it just is always on the DVR. But
Parts Unknown and No Reservations. It's like, those are just such great television
mostly
shows.
the Parts Unknown, the later one.
Those shows still have such good resonance because him as the character in the show had depth that we didn't know. We found out it was not okay on its own, but like the entire time he's doing that series, that's going on inside him. He's like, he's going to those places and experiencing those things, and that's showing up on camera. That may be why everyone really got him.
Well, yes.
It wasn't a performance.
No, he was very authentic himself. If things were irritating him, you knew it. You know, if something was uncomfortable, you knew it. If he was enjoying something, you knew it. I mean, there are moments on those shows that it's that old saying, if you got a laugh or smile out of him, it was like winning the lottery, because if he felt comfortable around you. I mean, I could do a whole thing about him. He's someone I have just always just extremely admired. I mean, like, I sobbed at one point during the Roadrunner. I was like, fuck. Like, you got to be kidding me. You're not here. Like, this is ridiculous. So, like I said, it all kind of relates back to the Top Chef. I'll watch most shows, they're competition cook shows, but that is the one that I really hold. I actually, circling back, I went to Gordon Ramsay's,
Hell's Kitchen?
Oh my God, sat in the audience, and I never got dessert. So, son of a bitch. And one of our table, it basically guests sent back his lamb chops. And I was like, oh God, you're going to get this person so much trouble. So, but it doesn't get that serious on Top Chef, but the stakes are high because it really can change your life in various different ways. And they're getting right down to the season finale. So I think on Bravo.com, you can catch up on past episodes, and it's well worth it. So I will wrap me up. So I watched on Hulu, The Captive Audience, and Top Chef on Bravo, and highly also recommend Roadrunner, which is the Anthony Bourdain documentary, which is available on Hulu.
All right. And I'll just dive in with, I watched Schitt's Creek.
Thank you.
Where was that right now?
Schitt's Creek is on Netflix.
Okay. And then I watched Petite Maman in the theater.
Yeah, good job. I watched Slow Horses, and so did John, on Apple TV Plus, and also All the Old Knives on Amazon Prime Video. I actually forgot to mention that after watching All the Old Knives, I then decided that I finally needed to watch Knives Out, which was very fun.
It's great. And the second one's coming out, or him as the character will have another possible.
However much I thought those
characters.
2 movies were related, I was like, I know they're not related, though.
No,
right?
they are not related, but it was very funny to be like, All the Old Knives. I think I need to finally watch Knives Out. How did I not ever watch it?
That's how you do movies.
That is kind of how I do.
Between 2 and 20 years after they come out.
Like, what? Oh, I missed it? I can still watch it.
You're sharpening your skills.
Yeah.
Does anyone need the update on Knox Blocks?
Yes.
Yes. Oh, wrap that back up.
Or really, it's interesting. The company is still going, not going like normal companies, because it's whatever. Knox Gelatin Factory that got bought by Lipton in 1972. Started by Charles B. Knox in New York.
In New York.
And then New Jersey, but main factory in New York. He, maybe just a businessman, not a scientist, but, after watching his wife make gelatin in their kitchen, because it was, all this turn of the century, because we're talking about back then, innovation of like, wait, you're doing this in your kitchen. What if we did this in the factory and sold it to people?
Right.
Sounds
you don't have to do it by yourself.
We could make a machine that would slice it. It'll be a Wonder Bread.
I don't know about that, but he died 10 years later. And then Rose Knox, his wife, became an infamous New York businesswoman and did a fantastic job for 40 years running it.
Wow, good for her.
Is their horses, what's it made out of? That's what you're going to answer.
That's not a question. That's gelatin is from that.
Gelatin is horse hooves. It is.
What?
That's why there's vegetarian versions or vegan versions of gelatin.
Whatever the same thing that human beings and hair and fingernails grow
like
out.
Collagen
That's all that is. It's just a giant fingernail on their foot. So cut that off, make some gelatin. In fact, we could make our own gelatin with our own fingernails.
Let's not talk about
okay.
Are we coming up with a cooking show right now? What can you make with your own stuff?
Now, the real question is, because we talked about the Jell-O cake on our other podcast, Family Dynamics, do you still want to make the Jell-O cake?
I mean, with the vegan version of gelatin, yes.
Yeah, I didn't think this was a question, so that's why I didn't care. But just to ruin your life more, it's also in, gummies, marshmallows, some ice cream, and some yogurt. So, sorry.
I just fainted.
Whatever. Collagen, the newest thing. I don't know where it's from, but it used to be from.
I'm pretty
that.
sure collagen is the reason why you can pull chicken off of a grill. Because it actually separates the skin meat.
God, this
I'm
is
just
getting-
saying, it's science.
Oh my
just calm
God.
down. It's a word. Chill out. Literally, chill out like a jello.
All right, on this note, let's wrap it
That
up.
was a real weird gelatin side note on what
Hey, you
we're
wanna
watching.
sponsor us?
Yeah. What we're watching has nothing to do with gelatin.
calling out to Knox Blocks.
Knox Gelatin, give us a call. We're available. Because apparently
Lipton, we know what's up.
Yeah. Okay. Well, anyway, thank you so much for listening to what we're watching. Yeah. And definitely we would appreciate you giving us a rating of 5 stars, please, and recommend to family and friends. And you can follow us on all of our social media at Podcast Watching. We also have a Patreon where we talk about shows that we maybe don't.
That's where we should have talked about Knox Blocks.
Well, I think we've really exhausted the Knox Blocks topic, so we're good on that.
Yeah.
Anyway, thank you for listening to
What
We Are Watching.